Welcome back to Wave Listens Live. Joining me now is Larry Weiss of Elder Advisors, 855-LARRY55. Visit elderadvisors.com. You got a lot of work that you could do for people and help a lot of people in this city and all around Wave Country. Larry, welcome to Listens Live.
Except no substitute, Sean.
Except no substitute?
I have no idea what Greek hieroglyphics you're throwing at me on live television, okay? I'm more of the Stockholm Syndrome variety today.
And you were explaining to me during the break what you meant by that, and I'm still trying to totally wrap my head around it. But basically, you know, when you're in a situation where you need help, it's not always easy to realize that when you're trapped in your own bubble, you become a prisoner of your own, as you call it, Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah, the Stockholm Syndrome. I had a good friend of mine years ago, sold home improvement stuff, and I can't believe this is just popping into my head now. One of the things he sold was windows. And he came home one day, we were talking, and he said, I just can't believe it. He said, well, I went to this house here in Louisville and had the original double hung windows, the sashes, and the wood frames were rotting away. He had them stuffed with newspaper. And I can get another winter out of those windows. One more, and he talked about it for 3 days. So back to the Stockholm Syndrome. When you're in the bubble, when you're dealing with it every day, it looks a lot different for the people that are outside the bubble. You know, when I was on the show last week and Snitsy was on, love you Snitsy, was, you know, the caregivers don't see the world as it really is. So when the folks come in for the holidays, they see a much different vantage point. And that's when the calls start coming into 855-LARRY55 because something's got to happen here. Well, recently a nursing home called, and I was saying, because we get a lot of referrals because they know the bills are going to get paid. We're going to do it the right way, full disclosure. We let them know. The attorneys do the legal part. We do the financial. So the business office lady took me back into the room to meet Fred and Wilma, last name Flintstone. So
I think I know them.
Oh yeah, right. It's kind of dating myself. So in any event, we sit down. Fred is he's clear as a bell. He handled the finances. He's the patient. He's not doing well physically, but mentally clear as a bell. The wife was clearly overwhelmed because Fred did all the finances. And when I sit down with families, either at our office, conveniently located in Louisville or Kentucky, what's one of the first questions? By now, Sean, I know you know. What's the first question I'm going to ask families?
Do you have power of attorney?
Yeah. And the answer was no. But we're thinking about it. And I said, how long have you guys been married? 51 years. I said, you know, for husband and wife folks, Wilma Flintstone can keep everything. Fred, it's a process to get there, but you have to have the tools in which for me to do that, and you're going to have the power of attorney. Well, we don't have it, so that was a whole problem of its own. And you know, they had about $800,000 in assets, $250,000 home. I said, look, the reality is you're going to be able to keep everything. After we get this set, your wife is going to keep everything. His income will have to go to the nursing home as cut a liability, and Wilma wasn't even happy with that. I mean, she's keeping everything, but the income typically will go to the nursing home. It's called liability. Well, I need that. I said, Wilma, you're keeping. So, you know, but the problem there was they had not written a check to the nursing home yet. They were still in their rehab. And that's part of the reason the nursing home asked me to come in, because they were already having problems with the Stockholm Syndrome because they don't see it as a problem. Because, well, we've got rehab for 2 more weeks. We're good right now. We'll worry about later. Well, later is coming. Later, and I told him, I said, it's going to be a thunderclap when it happens because you're going to get prorated for November. That's not going to be about $7,000. You're going to get a full bill for December. That's probably going to be about $9,000. So you're about to get a bill for $16,000, and it just didn't resonate with him because he still wants to control everything, and it's very unfortunate. He's the patient in the nursing home, but he's very clear, but he handled the finances, and the wife just was not aware of what the finances were. So they made an appointment for a couple days later, and as I fully expected, the husband called from the nursing home and canceled the appointment. I said, that's fine, Fred Flintstone, you call me when you're ready and stuff. But it's very unfortunate because it's just, I know how this movie is going to end. It's going to be a train wreck for everybody involved, but you can't help everybody. It's very unfortunate. But as Lindsay has said many times, and you know, you think I'd miss her today. I don't. No, I do love Lindsay.
Still thinking about her.
Yeah, I know. I love her. She's a great job. She does a great job. It's never as bad as families think it's going to be. You know, just pick up the phone and call. These meetings are not long because I can't sit still that long. A squirrel, what's going on? But we hit it. We find out what's going on. We triage. We see what's going on. And of course, I'm going to ask the families,
Do you have power of attorney?
Right. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. If they don't, then I'm going to team up with an attorney to get the power of attorney, because otherwise I can't do what I need to do. You know, people are stunned and amazed to hear that, you mean my XYZ insurance that I've had since 1965, the nursing home will take that? Well, it's not that they'll take it. They won't allow coverage, Medicaid benefits to start, because they're now calling it over-resource. Because that $15,000 death benefit policy that they've had for years, well, that's to bury me, and the kids know that. Well, the reality is it's got $12,000 of cash value. And now because they're in care, you know, even if they have no other assets, that's going to keep them from qualifying for benefits. So now it gets worse, because now it's 3 months. They're into this for 3 months, $9,000 a month. We're $27,000. They don't have the money because the life insurance kept them from being eligible. So, you know, if families have a loved one in a hospital now, they're trying to see where they're going to go. They're working with the hospital case manager. They're in rehab now in a nursing home. They need to call us because it's never too late. But some families, they need to call us for what we call the pre-crisis planning. If they've got a lot of this cash value life insurance, we've got up on the board, 855-LARRY-55, or go to elderadvisors.com. A long journey begins with its first step. We've got offices in Louisville, off Brownsboro, off the Watterson, where the VA hospital is, and of course over in New Albany, Indiana. I was distracted by your attractive demeanor today.
That's
Sean.
what it is. After you were talking all the trash about me not wearing a tie today. But you know what, Larry? I hate to outshine you, because this day, that's all about you.
It is.
That's
As
what we're
every
doing.
day is. 365 Kentucky.
855-LARRY-55, elderadvisors.com. Larry, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
That's all we got today on Listens Live, but no worries, we'll be back tomorrow.